I'm a Kern with the Florida Gators.
Okay. I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Destrehan, Louisiana. Hold on a second. Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff, and you know what they mean, but it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgement. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgement. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are back for an 8th season of Sideline Judgement. Tyler, how pumped are you to be back?
I'm so pumped. We're basically almost halfway there to the length of Nick Saban's tenure.
And I would argue just as many national championships in terms of the fictional podcast championship world is what we're doing here. I love it. 8th season, Tyler. The first season with 12 playoff teams that we'll talk about. Very happy about that one. And a very interesting season because we've got brand new conference realignment situations going on. We've got storylines aplenty. We've got new teams in new places. We've got a bunch of new players in new places. But one thing that remains the same is that on Labor Day weekend, toe meets leather, and we get football from Thursday to Monday. It is the most holy of 5-day stretches in the sporting world, the greatest weekend of the year. Hello, we are back, baby. We are back. We will be starting, Tyler, by talking about each conference by conference.
Yes, give it to me. Every single one.
We're gonna go in, break them down.
The one that nobody wants, including the one that nobody wants. Including
the conference whose name says they have 12 teams, but in actuality, they only have 2. Thanks, college football TV money. We will talk about each of those conferences. We're going to talk about the storyline or the team that we're most looking forward to watching this season. The game that we're most looking forward to, and we're going to pick our winner from each of those conferences. We will go through all of those. Then, Tyler, while Labor Day weekend is the greatest sporting weekend of the year, there is a little bit of an appetizer the week before. So week 0 just wrapped up. We are recording this Sunday, August 25th, which means on Saturday, August 24th, there were 4 games on deck, a little primer for the season, and we will talk about those games and why, a top 10 ranked team just took care of business on the international stage. I'm sorry. Hold on, Tyler. I'm getting word. Yes. Okay, I'll let them know. Yes, I'm getting word from Kirk Herbstreit himself that Florida State has indeed not lived up to the expectations. Shocker, Tyler. We'll get to that later on in the episode. I want to let you know. But I just wanted to let you know about that.
Should have brought all their players. It's terrible that the NCAA has incurred a travel restriction on going to Ireland.
Tyler, I don't know. Listen, have you ever tried to throw a football after flying across the Atlantic Ocean and jet lagged? You got to cut people some slack. You know what I mean? Got to cut them some slack. We will then talk about the 2 other teams, big 3 teams in the state of Florida. That's right. I said big 3, UCF. We're still here. Don't you worry. You ain't won nothing yet. Okay. No matter how many times my girlfriend wants to tell me they have a national championship, we know what's true. We know what actually happened. We will talk about the first of many anxiety Florida football games that we'll talk about this year, Tyler. And it'll be the Miami Hurricanes visiting the Florida Gators in the Swamp this upcoming Saturday. We'll talk about that. And then we will go through 5 wide and 2 point for the first week of the season. We have put together 5 games spanning from Thursday all the way to Sunday. Then we'll pick our 2-point games. And then I also put a list of other notable games, Tyler, just because, while the big time top 25 matchup games are awesome, there's a whole lot of other games that are going on. And one of the great things about Labor Day weekend is the fact that we celebrate the entire sport of college football, from the highest of quality all the way down to the perceived lowest of quality, because I believe that there is no bad quality college football.
Amen.
So we will talk about those games, Tyler. Before we do any of that, how was your off season, my friend?
My off season. It was good. It was good. Working a lot.
Mhm.
Working on different redacteds, working on my own personal projects, enjoying the summer. It's been hot. I moved.
Uh-huh.
I'll be watching
Yes.
college football at a new venue. Still Los Angeles. Don't worry.
Okay. Still
Still
Big Ten
Pacific
country.
time.
Still Big Ten
The
country.
best time to watch sports.
Okay. All right. Listen. You can't just throw away your Floridian roots over
I'm
here. Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, do you have time to, after watching a night game, do something else with your night? Because I
I'm
do.
sorry. I'm sorry. Do you not stay up until 2:30 in the morning watching Hawaii as one should?
I don't need to.
Oh my God.
They're
Here we
over at
go.
11:30, Chris, buddy.
This West Coast sporting supremacy. I am just like a politician, Tyler, because I'm going to argue with you right here. But behind closed doors, I 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. The West Coast is the best sporting time.
I still agree. I still think that Eastern time is God's time. I want to be very clear about that.
Oh yeah,
But
we're,
as,
we're in agreement.
as we
We're in
cannot
agreement.
consider college football a godly sport, Pacific time is the best time.
Correct. Yes. Okay.
We're paying the
Forget all.
players now. There's nothing godly about it.
Forget all of that, Tyler. Let's get to the real question before we begin. What is your favorite playbook on the college football video game? That is what we need to hear, Tyler.
I have
That is
so
the
many
question
thoughts.
we've been asking for.
Because I've been experimenting, and
Okay.
I literally have a document on my phone of all my notes on all the different offenses I have tried.
Mhm.
Right now, the one that I currently use for my online dynasty that I play the most of is the Arizona playbook. I like it
Okay.
a lot of bunch of different stuff and a lot of fun stuff. Beyond that, I think if you have two good running backs, UNLV's offensive playbook is really fun.
I have not played UNLV's playbook yet.
They have
That's
the
a good thing to
go-go
know.
formation where
Okay.
you place, and this is a real thing they do in real life. You place two running backs on the same side, offset your quarterback.
Yes.
So there's like an RPO they have where you can be like handing it off to the inside one and just throw it quick out into the flat to the other one.
Oh, I like on the same
it-
side.
Yeah, on the same side.
So it's like a read, but you have a flat going in the same direction.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It's fun stuff if you have two good running backs. I
Sounds
mean,
like Billy Napier should be implementing the go-go.
I actually like the Florida playbook for the most part.
Me too.
I like the Florida playbook if you have speedy players. If you don't have speedy wide receivers, don't run that, because everything about that playbook is about we got fast guys. But currently Arizona, I've been trying Kansas State
I was gonna say that's my playbook.
I really like Kansas State's too.
Isn't it fun?
I'm more I think I like Arizona's passing options more, but I love Kansas State's running options a lot more.
Well, I am very much I fully embraced run the damn ball with this video game from jump. And when I found the K-State offense, I was like, oh, we got some counters, we got some pulling guards, we got some fun delayed handoffs. Like, it's a fun playbook if you like to run the football. So I'm glad you like that, Tyler. I'm glad you like that. You want to talk about the football that's actually going to happen this year?
Let's do it. I'm so
Let's do it. All righty. Conference by conference preview. We're going to start with the Southeastern Conference. If you are like us and dearly miss the SEC on CBS, have no fear. You're going to hear that song. It's just going to feel different because the CBS struck a deal with the Big Ten, so they will now be in that kind of. I don't know how I feel about them having the jingle, but like at the same time, it is what it is.
I'm glad the jingle lives on.
Exactly. I'm glad the jingle lives on. Exactly. Instead, Tyler, we will be having the majority of SEC games on the ESPN family of networks. And I do want to ask you, Tyler, to begin, is there a specific team in the SEC or a storyline that you're most looking forward to? I'm going to put a caveat. The Florida Gators are ineligible for all questions in this conference. So obviously, you know that, I know that, but is there a specific storyline or team you're looking forward to in the SEC? How will you be viewing the SEC through the eyes of this team or storyline?
I think there's two answers that I have personally.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of cop out and do both of them.
That's fine.
Because they kind of fit into each other.
Mm-hmm.
The main one for me, and I think it's not getting talked about enough, because the obvious answer is, how did Texas and Oklahoma fit into the SEC?
Correct.
Blah, blah,
Correct.
blah. Generic. More specifically, in my opinion, I think we know Texas is physical enough for the SEC. They've been great under Sark. They will be fine. In fact, many people are picking them to win the conference. For me, specifically, it is about where does Oklahoma fit into the SEC? Because I feel like I have a good idea of where Texas fits in.
Okay.
Physical enough. Alabama's taking a step back. Georgia's got a harder schedule this year. I think they're right up there with the top 3. And you can throw Ole Miss in that for the top 3, 4. Where does Oklahoma stand? And by extension, it's just like, what is the, like, because I think Oklahoma's pretty good. But how good?
Okay.
You know, like how is it? It's different now. And the interesting thing is that they're coming from the Big 12. Big 12 is not the Big 12 of 8 years ago, where it was all throwing the ball at Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield. The Big 12 is physical now. It has been it's been a run the ball conference for a little while, actually, with good quarterback play as well. But so for me, it's like, it's not so much, I don't think it's that they're not capable of the physicality. It's just like, okay, you've got a new quarterback that everybody seems excited about, Jackson Arnold. You run an interesting offense. I believe Seth Luttrell is their offensive coordinator now. I could be wrong about that, but
I think he is.
They are the most interesting team in the conference to me, because I truly do not know where they slot. I could really see them struggling and having a 6-6 season. This is depending on how good Jackson Arnold is, but I could also see them having a 10-win season. And but so they're the most interesting. And my kind of caveat onto that, my kind of add on it, is like, what is in that restructuring of the SEC? What is the situation for like Arkansas, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Kentucky? Like, where, like, because each time
the perceived, like, in the old SEC, I can't believe that's a phrase that just came out of my mouth. In the old SEC, that like that like 8 to 14 range of team, or 8 to 10 range of teams. I'm sorry, 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Yeah, those like traditional of that range. What happens with them? Is that what you're talking about?
Basically, it's like, what's the new middle class of the conference? Because
that's a great way to. What's the new middle class?
What's the new middle class?
What
of the
a
conference?
question!
It's like, I'll tell you right now, and this isn't really about Florida, but like Florida currently is in the middle class of this conference. Like Florida, Auburn, Kentucky. I mean, Missouri's at the top of it, kind of reaching into the top tier. We'll see how it goes this year, because they had a really great season last season. But like, every time you add more teams, you restructure what the conference supremacy is. Vanderbilt keeps getting pushed down and down and down. Not surprising, but like, there used to be, I feel like, a ceiling that Vanderbilt could hit that I would say is non-existent now. So I'm interested to see how the middle class of the conference sorts itself out. The Auburns, the Floridas, the Arkansas, the Mississippi States, the South Carolinas, the Kentuckys. Like,
yeah, I like that. I'm also gonna cheat a little bit. Give you 2. First one, I'm not gonna talk much about because I think everybody wants to know. Alabama, you lose the GOAT.
That's another easy one where I'm like,
yeah, that's a layup. Okay, yeah. Oh, the greatest coach of all time retired. What does this team look like? But I think the more interesting subplot there, if you're going to kind of want to pick and choose within the Bama conversation, is what does that offense look like? Because you're bringing over with Kalen DeBoer coming over from Washington. We just saw him with a plethora of NFL wide receiver talent, an incredible quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., who got drafted in the top 10 inexplicably, but not because of his talent. It was more a situational thing.
If he wasn't going to the Falcons, the Raiders would have drafted him. Like,
that's exactly. I don't know that. Yeah, actually, Raiders would have drafted.
That's pretty much truth. Like,
that's the truth. But my point is, what does that look like, right? What does this new structure look like? And apparently, Nick Saban is supposed to still be in the building, just not coaching and hands-on. And he's clearly going to be touring the country all season with game day. So, how much of an imprint does that have on him? Tampering? Maybe. I don't know. So that's part one. But number 2 is something a little bit more near and dear to my heart. Tyler, I have been a consistent proponent of third-year Josh Heupel teams tend to trend downwards. They tend to go down because of the nature of his coaching style, of his scheme, lends itself to people figuring it out, and the teams in the conference now knowing, okay, we've seen this a few times, we know how to do this. I mean, I did it in my NCAA save. I played against Tennessee, and I was like, okay, cool, just like prevent, put them up front, make sure they don't score a touchdown, make sure you don't get blown off in it with a speedy guy on the back, make sure you guys have guys either rotating in and out quickly or force them to get behind the ball when they try to run the ball, and then you can pretty much contain it. So there's a formula to stop it. This is going to be the first time that Josh Heupel's coaching a team into the 4th year. So what does a 4th year Heupel team look like? I'm looking at his records from UCF and Tennessee. And yes, UCF, he inherited the whole Frost situation. He went 12-1, 10-3 in his 2nd year, 6-4 in the COVID shortened 3rd year. But then he went 7-6 at Tennessee, 11-2 in that incredible season where they won the Orange Bowl. And then they went down to 9-4. So they did regress, but by the nature of the talent, they're still 9-4 is a good season. What do we have going on in the next year? And how does Nico Emo, whatever his name is, that true freshman quarterback who was named the starter last week, how is he going to fit in right away? There was a lot of hype with him. He was committed for over a year, big time NIL money, all that kind of stuff. Let's see what that looks like. So that is kind of the storyline I'm looking at.
They're a fascinating team because if he's the real deal, they could be really good.
Yeah. They're to me one of the more bang or bust. Where if he's good, okay, Tennessee's going to could be on the up and
Tennessee
up.
But and Oklahoma,
it's gonna be hard.
Tennessee and Oklahoma. So this is not for the next bit. This is not what I'm picking, but it is a game I heavily considered. Was I believe Tennessee at Oklahoma. I like stylistically. They play very similarly. Josh Heupel is an Oklahoma quarterback. But it's just like Tennessee to me is okay. Oklahoma to me feels like the more consistent bet than Tennessee, which maybe is sacrilegious to say, would be contrarian to most people in the country because Tennessee's been really good the last couple of years. Yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't know how good this Nico kid is. All right.
Yeah.
And like Hendon Hooker was a revelation in this offense because he had a specific skill set, which is what you need, which is the big arm can move. And you got good receivers. But everywhere Josh Heupel's been, this offense has started to stop working.
Correct.
So it's such a big question. And I don't really question that Oklahoma's gonna have good offense. It's just how good,
See, who's Oklahoma's head coach?
Brent Venables.
And what side of the ball does he come
Defense.
From? And was he a good or bad defensive coordinator?
Pretty good.
Probably considered one of the best in the country. Right?
Yeah.
Right. In his time.
Instantly improved them.
I'm just wondering. There were just questions to ask. Just questions to ask. Let's move forward, Tyler. The game you're most looking forward to in the SEC.
There to me is only one answer. And that might be
I hope it's the same as mine.
It's Texas at Texas A&M. This is
100,000%. And it is for petty reasons only. Petty reasons only.
I went through like every schedule to be like, oh my God, there's so many games, so many cool ones. And then you get to the end and you see Texas at Texas A&M, and it's just like that trounces every other possible game. It doesn't matter what's on the line. I just want to see it.
Even better, it is at College Station.
Oh,
sign me up. That's it. We don't even need to go further. I don't have a second option because I don't think there's a second option. That's the game I want to see this year. Tyler, who wins the SEC?
I really hate to do this, but I think it is Georgia. Because here's now what I love about the 12-team playoff is that like now those conference championships are really going to matter because you get a bye. A lot of people think it's like Georgia and Texas. I mean, like I think Alabama has the threshold. We'll see. Depends on how that DeBoer offense looks. He's catered it to the style of his quarterback everywhere he's ever went, and Jalen Milroe is very talented. But Texas loses a lot from last year's team. Alabama's got a lot of uncertainty. We don't know if Ole Miss can get up to that level.
Ole Miss is also a program that sneakily kind of starts to fall off towards the end of the year. So
Georgia at Ole Miss was a big game for me because I was like, this is the one that tells me whether they're actually on this level. Like, and they don't even have to win it, but they just have to. But because they weren't even competitive last year when they figured. It's like I don't even at the best, I don't see it from Tennessee, Oklahoma, or Missouri. Like,
although Missouri, the case for Missouri is that they have an easy schedule.
Yes, because this is the only case against Georgia is that Georgia's schedule is way harder than it was last year. The three best teams that they face, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia and Alabama, all three are on the road. So, but I think the thing is like Georgia doesn't lose as much as any of those teams. Alabama, you lose the greatest coach of all time. Texas, you lose defensive tackles, you lose a couple wide receivers. You've got good replacements, but like you lose some NFL talent. Ole Miss lost Quinshon Judkins, but I don't think that's as important. But like Ole Miss, are you even on that level? Georgia's on that level, didn't lose that much. So unfortunately, it has to be Georgia.
I agree. I think it's the safest pick. All those other teams. A team we didn't mention throughout this whole segment was LSU. But again, I'm not going to really pick them. It's more so the fact that I think LSU is in a situation where, okay, you lose Jaden Daniels, and very clearly the offense is, we don't know if I think they're going to regress, but again, that to me isn't the worst thing in the world. I just don't know if it's going to be able to hold up with the other teams in this conference. And based on like when they play certain teams, like, they could get got in the back half of the year. And it may be PTSD as a Florida Gator fan, but any offense with the name Nussmeier attached to it isn't going to inspire me any hope, even though he's a quarterback. I know, but
I mean, Garrett Nussmeier was a big recruit, and he played well in the bowl game. Again, just a bowl game.
He did.
They lose they lose 2 receivers that are first round NFL draft picks. They've got a good offensive line still. A lot of their offensive line talent has returned.
Yeah.
And I loved the Blake Baker hire from Missouri as a defensive coordinator. But I do think it's a situation where, like, best case, they're probably 9-3.
Yeah. I agree. Just wanted to put them out there though, because they are a good team and all that stuff. So all right, Tyler, let's move to the conference I'm actually most excited about this season. And that's the Big 12. We got some new additions in there. We got a whole bunch of brand new teams. It's probably the conference with the most parity in the country right now. And I feel like this is a situation where, because you have a bunch of other teams that are coming in and you have some teams that are established pretty well, there could be a lot of, variety in the Big 12 this year. Tyler, what's the storyline or team you're most looking forward to this year?
I think the teams it's Oregon and Michigan. Sorry, no, Washington and Michigan. It's like, how do the national title contenders?
Oh, my brother in Christ, the Big 12. The Big 12.
Oh, we're doing the Big 12 first?
Not the Big 10.
I'm sorry, I messed up.
You're reading further down the rundown.
I have a much better the Big 12.
You know what? Maybe we needed a week. Maybe we needed a week 0. Maybe we needed a week 0 to just kind of get the kinks out. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? Hey, I fumbled, but I recovered it.
It's okay. It's okay. Second down. Run it back again.
Big 12. To me, it's the clash of styles. This is the conference with the greatest variety of styles in its teams. To me, Utah's big and physical. Oklahoma State is physical as well. We've got the option teams that not option, but like Kansas State and Kansas have a lot of like running quarterbacks, option heavy offense. They're both good. Arizona's got probably, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the conference. But is that, who else would you think would be better?
I really like Jalen Daniels out of Kansas.
My thing with Jalen Daniels is that he's not been able to consistently stay healthy, and
I think KJ Jefferson inside of a Gus Malzahn system.
Yes, KJ Jefferson will be a matchup nightmare. I will not give him the benefit of best quarterback in the conference. It's either Jalen Daniels or Noah Fifita to me.
Okay, I agree with that latter statement. I'm just saying KJ in that system has the potential to stir up conversations throughout the season.
Yeah. But Arizona's a pass. Arizona likes to pass the ball with a balance. Oklahoma State and Utah like to run the ball, but in different ways, very like running back centric. Utah's very physical. Gus Malzahn in that physical style of running with the quarterback. Same thing with the Kansas schools. Texas Tech still kind of throwing the ball around. Like there's a lot of this is kind of the most interesting mix of styles, And now Willie Fritz is at Tulane. He has always run like a really shotgun option offense. Willie Fritz is at Houston from Tulane.
Correct.
I think the blend, the matchups from a schematic standpoint and the blend of styles and the styles makes fights of it all. I think this is the most interesting conference for that. And that is the thing I'm most excited to watch.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I like that. And in a similar vein, go ahead. No, finish up.
Well, no, it's just like Arizona can play like 3 teams back to back and have to come up with a completely different game plan, wider range of game plans than most conferences will give you. So
yeah, agreed. In a similar vein, my storyline is the parity and the depth. And unfortunately, I think that this is going to lead people to think that this conference is worse than what it actually is. It's so funny when a conference is deep and the letters in front of the conference are SEC, it is perceived to be a positive. But when a conference is deep and the letters are not SEC, it's perceived to be, oh, there's not one good team to stand out above the rest. So you can never win. You can never win when you're not the SEC. Yeah. But in terms of entertainment and enjoying your Saturdays, that is what I'm looking forward to the most. I love the fact that we're getting this conference truly is like from sea to shining sea. You have Morgantown, West Virginia, all the way to the Arizonas and Utah. Like this conference literally stretches the entire country. And while I don't like that in terms of travel for the players, I do like that in terms of being able to have a meaningful game for each of these, for each of the different time zones in the country. So you'll have a Big 12 presence at any time in the throughout the day. You know what I mean? So you'll be able to get all of that stuff. So that is my what I'm looking forward to the most, that parity, that depth. What about a game that you're looking forward to most? I think we're going to be on the same page on this one too.
Kansas at Kansas State.
That's not what I was going to say, but I love that. Talk about that. I'll give you mine.
Kansas at Kansas State in state rivalry. Luckily, so Kansas is playing most of their games at Arrowhead this year because their stadium is getting renovated. But this game is at Kansas State because I was like, I wouldn't want a rivalry like this when the teams are both supposed to be really good.
Yeah. You want it to be at a
NFL stadium when it could be at a college stadium. Right. You got possibly the best quarterback.
Said by two Florida fans who annually have Florida Georgia at a Jacksonville.
Yeah, but that's historic. That's supposed to be played there.
It's exactly. That and Red River should be neutral. Correct.
It's not the same. So Kansas and Kansas State have two exciting mobile quarterbacks. Avery Johnson is just a, I believe, redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman, but he's been really excited. Will Howard transferred to Ohio State because he looked like Avery Johnson was going to overtake his job. And Will Howard is a good quarterback, like a good college quarterback.
Yes, he is.
That in-state rivalry and both of these teams being good and in like a talented kind of way is really exciting. It's a testament to the jobs that Lance Leipold and Colin Klein have done. When Colin Klein was the offensive coordinator, who's the Chris Kleiman.
Yeah, I was going to say you mixed up your Kleins.
Chris Kleiman and Lance Leipold, two really good motivator, tactician, archetype coaches. The brain rot from the game is real. But that have, always done a good job of building up programs through physicality, which has happened. But I think this is just such a fascinating style. Both these teams are just fun to watch, and it's a rivalry game. I don't know what else is there to say.
I know what else there is to say, Tyler. It's Utah BYU, baby.
I did consider that.
Come on, baby. It's the Holy War. We got to get in that. That is the game I'm looking forward to.
It was what I was thinking. I was just like, BYU to me is just not going to be good enough to justify.
I agree. And this is another reason why I'm looking forward to the game, to that specific game, because in this world, right, I think that there's a possibility for Utah to truly make some noise nationally. And BYU with Ken Niumatalolo as their head coach, we really haven't seen him kind of take
him or Kalani Sitake?
I'm sorry, Kalani Sitake. I confuse my.
We need this week 0.
We need this. Ooh, yeah, we got to get back into it. But Kalani Sitake, I'm wondering if his system is, fit for big time conference college football play. And I think this is the season that it's make or break for him. And I think that a win against Utah, when they are, big time national eyeballs on them, and that they may be one of the teams that can break out of this conference like that. I think it's big. So I would love to see it. And we know that the soda hits a little bit different out in Utah, and it's gonna be a fun time regardless of who wins, and a top 5 uniform game in college football. So everybody should always tune into the Holy War. So I'm with you there. I'm with you in terms of the importance.
Truly is a top 5 uniform game in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Top 3 maybe. Like that is beautiful.
My only criticism of the Kansas State game is that I'm like, purple and blue. It's like,
I know.
If Kansas comes out in a little bit more red, that's one thing,
Listen, listeners, to show you how much Tyler and I believe in the Holy War, we have played one game against each other online in NCAA, and it was the Holy War. We decided to play Utah BYU strictly for the uniform vibes.
It was
great to watch. It's great to watch. Tyler, I can just jump into, because your conference winner. I like Utah. I like Utah to win the conference. I think the consistency with the coaching staff. I think that the fact that they seem to be the team that is consistently, the floor at Utah seems to be
pretty
consistently higher than everyone else. And I don't know. I think there's like you said, styles clashes for me, the parity and the depth, but I do think that they could kind of rise above that. I have other options, but I'd love to know who you think before
I'm actually gonna go with Oklahoma State.
Really? Okay.
Because I think that, and we haven't talked about them much, but like they've got
little drunk driving action. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
We do not support drunk driving. Call an Uber. Do not drive intoxicated. Just a joke.
As my father says, there's too many options nowadays for you to ever be okay with doing that. Like
exactly.
There's like, if that idea even crosses your head, you're messed up. There's just you have options.
I agree.
I put Oklahoma State because there is the idea in my head that it's probably Kyle Whittingham's last or second to last season. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but he's getting up there, man.
He is towards the end. He has said.
But there is the idea to me that Utah, a physical team that kind of handled a lot of the Pac-12 by being the most physical team in the Pac-12, is going to the Big 12, where that's not necessarily going to be the trump card that it has been. Mike Gundy is a good football coach. They've got, probably one of the better players in the conference in Ollie Gordon. Alan Bowman's fine. And I think the question is, Cameron Rising has not played football in about a year and a half. He was really good at it last time he did it, but
it's just been a minute.
But I mean, how good is it? There's constant. Okay, we're dealing with this in the NFL with a certain player who hasn't played football in a while. Getting back into it, it's not quite the same when you leave where the bullets are flying. When you get back in, it moves faster, and that's my only worry. Is that my worry with Utah is that I'm like, we all just are chalking up Cam Rising coming back to being like, oh, they'll have an even better quarterback. Is there going to be growing pains that they're not going to be able to overcome? Whereas Oklahoma State has continuity on that side. And now let me be clear. I expect these two teams to be playing each other in the conference title game.
I agree. But for me, the Utah pick is less so much a pick on the quarterback and Rising coming back and rising up from the ashes. It's more so the system around it, right? I have more faith in the infrastructure of the Utah football program than I do any other team in the conference. So, yeah. All right. I like that. Oklahoma State. I like that. All right, Tyler, let's get to the Big Ten. Let's talk about the storyline or team you're most looking forward to.
I think the two teams is that, like I was saying earlier, it's that like the national title contenders, Washington, Michigan, both are reloading with new coaches, new quarterbacks, new lots. They're each replacing a lot, and I think we can all agree that Michigan feels like they're in a better place. But Washington, lost a lot of talent as well, and hired Jed Fish, who we think is good. They got Will Rogers, quarterback from Mississippi State transfer, has come in who can sling the ball. He's a former air raid quarterback, but they still have a lot of talent. And it's the thing of like, how did they stack up in this new? Like a lot of my storylines this year, like teams that I'm not sure where they fall. Because I could see Michigan under Jerome Moore getting right back into conference contention. I don't think they're as good as Oregon or Ohio State, but the question is like, are they a step above Penn State, or are they the same level as Penn State? Washington, I feel like could even be lower, but like, it's like, how did they reload? Because it's a completely like start from scratch situation for both of them, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, makes sense, and it's cool because these two teams played for the national championship last year. So yeah, how do they like? I saw Michigan returns one starter on offense, and it's their like all-American tight end. So there's a lot replacing there. That's a lot. Same thing with Washington. Like that was, kind completely brought over. Now they do bring a lot of people from Arizona, where Jedd Fisch was, so they do have consistency in terms of coach and player relationship for the most part. But yeah, I'm with you. I like that a lot. For me, Nebraska. I'm just fascinated by Nebraska. Like, I really want to know if this.
Call.
I just want to know if this Matt Rule situation is for real. They also, similar to Tennessee, have a 5-star, highest quality blue chip quarterback coming in Dylan Raiola, and I'm interested. I'm interested to see if this is something that can finally click. They definitely looked better last year in Rule's first year compared to the end of the Frost era. They weren't losing games that they were winning and have inexplicable moments. So can the consistency keep going? I like Matt Rule as a coach. I think it's going to work, but the question is, in a conference where you have Ohio State, what you just said about Washington and Michigan, Oregon is also right there in terms of making noise in the conference. Penn State is perennially in the conversation. USC is in this conference. What's going on with them out in LA?
Yeah, so much going on.
Crazy. Rutgers was like serviceable last year. Like, can they do it 2 years in a row? Iowa, they no more nepotism at offensive coordinator. Does that change something? All of these different questions of what's going on within the conference. It's a very deep conference in terms of storylines. And then to top it all off, the most important one, Northwestern playing in a temporary stadium next to Lake Michigan. That's crazy too. Like, what are we going to be happening there? So, but no, Nebraska is the one I'm most looking forward to. It's going to be, to me, a very interesting season there. And I'm going to find myself checking the Nebraska score more often than I really think I should. So that's my storyline here. What about the game, Tyler? What game are you most looking forward to in the Big Ten?
This may not be like a popular pick necessarily, but I'm actually looking the most forward to Penn State at USC. Like, a rematch of that 2016 Rose Bowl, or I don't remember what it was.
I don't know what year, but it was Sam Darnold against
Trace McSorley,
Trace McSorley. That's so funny. That game was, and we won't go down the rabbit hole of old college football games, but that game was one of those games where you kind of knew instantly it was an instant classic ESPN game.
In the moment, it was
in the moment we knew, and then now like the players that were on those teams we know so well. Oh, so anyway, please continue. But you are correct.
But yeah, it's just like in this new 12-team playoff format, Penn State is destined to. This is the thing that Penn State is destined to be a part of, a 12-team playoff format, because it's that level they could never get into. If you're like Penn State, you're really talented. You could win some of those games, but you can never get to the dance. And now they're going to probably be in the dance. But really, honestly, it's a lot of it is like seeing that rematch, like, and Penn State going all the way to USC. That's another thing in this conference. It's going to have probably the biggest range of like travel, like Washington at Rutgers. Like what? What?
What? This is a conference game?
That is a conference game. Washington could lose that game too. Rutgers might be good this year.
Yeah, they could get got. Who knows?
But Penn State at USC is one of those like, I'm really fascinated to see both of these teams this year. Like Penn State was kind of dreadful on offense last year, but they return a lot, and I believe the new Kansas's old offensive coordinator is now coming over. USC replaces with a new quarterback. Shocker, that's probably going to be fine. It's like the one thing Lincoln Riley does well, but he did make changes on the defensive side of the ball. So, like, I don't know. This is a fascinating game to me.
For me, it is Ohio State heading to Eugene to play Oregon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is that is a game taking place on October 12th, which is I will have to watch that game from a bar and or my phone. So I will be in Milwaukee watching friends of mine get married. So fall weddings, baby. Fall weddings. No, but seriously, Ohio State at Oregon.
You're doing the right thing.
I know. Listen, it is ultimately just a game. And in this day and age, when I can literally watch it on my cell phone, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years I could watch it on my Apple Watch. Okay. Like, technology is crazy. So yeah, Ohio State, Oregon, just because these are the two top teams. We'll probably see these teams in the conference championship game as well. I would like to see how Ohio State does going over there. We remember when Mario was the coach of Oregon and they went to Ohio State and they won that game. So this is the get back for the Buckeyes. And personally, we can segue right into it. I have the Ohio State Buckeyes winning this conference. I have the Ohio State Buckeyes winning the national championship. This is supposed to be a very, 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 very good team. So I will be keeping my eye on this, to say the least. So, Ohio State, Oregon for my game, and then Ohio State is my conference winner. How about you?
It's the same game, Ohio State, Oregon. I'm actually going to go Oregon for the conference championship.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't mean, because I do think it's either Ohio State or Georgia for the national title, but they both can still contend for it, even if they lose their conference games.
Correct. That is true.
Their conference championships.
Yes.
This is entirely predicated on one thing. I think Dan Lanning is one of them coaches.
Yeah, I think he's got that dog in him.
I think he's one of them.
I think
coaches,
he's capital
man.
H him. I think he's capital H.
Like,
he's got him.
Every single thing I see about Dan Lanning, I'm just like, I love it. Like,
dude,
and it
you know what?
Because he's not going to leave Oregon.
Yeah, but
I would have been like, honestly, it's like, I know we're both rooting for Billy Napier, but if I can get Dan Lanning, let's get a move on that. But he's not going to leave Oregon because he's literally said, he's like, I know I can do it here. Like,
yeah, well, and now they're in the Big Ten, and so they have the platform. Like, all you got to do is win the games, which we know he can do. So I like that. I like that pick. The moment that I knew Dan Lanning was capital H him, ironically, was the game against Colorado. Not because, it was the hype and they kind of slowed the hype down or whatever last year, but because he was like, oh, y'all think you can hang? Okay, let's see you hang. And he did not let up, and it was he's a sicko. He's got that sicko gene.
People that knew college football knew that was going to happen, because I saw a bunch of people be like, Colorado's going to come in and shock the world, and I'm just like, guys, you have not been watching these teams. And
no,
and the hype video too.
The Colorado State game should not have been that close. Okay, guys, like,
as great as a game as it was,
right.
Everybody talks about that, but he's like, they're playing for clicks, we're playing for wins. Like, I'm not even talking about that. I remember in that hype video, he's talking to his team, and he's like, you see, then we're gonna have this, like, Tez on this matchup. Do you guys you like that? I like that. He's like, he just knows. Plan. He's like getting into it. He's just, I don't know. He gets his team ready,
and he gets it. He just gets it. So I'm with you. All righty. The ACC, Tyler. New teams as well, because perennial ACC powerhouse Stanford is now in this conference. Because when I think the Atlantic Coast, I think Stanford.
Literally couldn't be more Atlantic.
I also
could be less Atlantic.
I also think of Dallas, Texas, and SMU. Just Atlantic Ocean.
They were in this conference.
I was watching the game yesterday because SMU played in week 0 yesterday. I was watching the game, and their uniforms had the ACC patch, and I was like, "I'm sorry, is this a glitch? Like, sorry, what's going on here?" And it took me a second to, oh, yep, you are correct. You are correct. So, all right, ACC, Tyler, storyline or team you're most looking forward to?
I mean, is it reactionary to say Georgia Tech?
See, I was gonna say FSU Georgia Tech for my game of the year. Oh, that's funny.
So that's reactionary, because I'm very interested in this team. Because
it is a little reactionary, but after what we saw, I don't hate it, man. I don't hate the pick.
I'm using that as a springboard to talk about the storyline that I'm most interested in, which is the coastal chaos coming into the entire conference.
Can we just have a brief? I know that last year there weren't any divisions, and we've already been one season without the coastal, but could we just one more time, just a moment of silence for the ACC coastal, please? Just thank you for your respect. That was just hard for us. That was the hard.
It lives on. It lives on.
7 years, 7 different champions of the division, 7 teams in the division. Love it. We're never going to see that again. But yes, that coastal craziness
has Tech, and in that way, I mean, we already saw it in week 0, but just the coastal chaos still being a part of the conference, even if the coastal division is gone.
Yeah, I like that. For me, it's funny because I actually have quite a few teams that I'm really interested in. My official pick is going to be Clemson, because
it's almost what I picked too.
Well, because it's very, I don't say it's very unique or that it's very important, but I do think that this is really like, is it a down stretch, or has Clemson officially taken the step backwards? And I think this is the year that we're going to find that out. We have to find that out. This is it,
That's the tough thing when you build an entire dynasty on generational quarterback play at the college level.
Yeah.
You gotta keep replacing it.
Listen, when you have Redacted and Sunshine back to back, it's a pretty good run,
Yeah.
It's a pretty good run. That is Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, for those who are unaware.
Specifically,
my mom, who's probably listening to this with my stepdad in the car. Hello, mommy. Love you. So going forward, I want to know what Clemson's going to be. And I know there's no transfer portal in the season, but when does Dabo get the hint? Because he's got to start using it. It's really, at this point, it's pretty obvious that he has to start using it. So I just wonder how that's going to happen.
The unfortunate thing is that transfers that don't work out, i.e. a former quarterback of his, are not going to convince him that it's a good idea. Which brings me.
There were 7 Florida State jokes in the past 5 minutes. I love it, Tyler. We're back.
Which brings me to my most anticipated game of the year. It's Clemson.
Hold on, wait 1 second. I just want to mention a couple other teams that I want people to kind of keep an eye on. Duke is interesting to me. Manny Diaz is at Duke. I want to know after the quick turnaround that was done by Mike Elko, who is now at Texas A&M, can that be sustained? Miami, is it going to happen? There's a lot of preeminent and prominent journalists out there.
They're the most volatile.
You don't know. NC State, can they get the 10th win? Who knows? North Carolina, are we reaching towards the end of the Mac Brown era? He is getting up there in age. And, they are without, elite quarterback play, or maybe they find another one. I don't know. And then, of course, the new teams, right? SMU, Stanford, coming in. How's that going to work regarding travel, schedule? We'll see. Please continue.
My most anticipated game of the year is Clemson at FSU. I'm sorry to go chalk, but to me,
I get it.
Specifically because it's DJ Uiagalelei's I wish the game was in Clemson, but
yeah, me too.
But I think that it's very interesting because I think, having watched the game in week 0, still think Clemson is the class of the conference. But we'll see. Clemson's defense is gonna manhandle that Florida State offense in its current set, but is Clemson's offense going to be able to do anything? They have just been kind of treading water for the past couple of years. And Garrett Riley last year was a slight improvement. I don't feel like he got to run the offense he wanted to run. Maybe that's different this year. We're not going to find out any answers in week 1, but that's the most fascinating game for me, because I do feel, even though FSU had problems against Georgia Tech, they'll still be probably pretty good. And I think this could be one of the games that decides the conference.
No, I'm with you. I like that. I do want really quickly before I give you my game of the year. Syracuse head football coach Fran Brown is another story that I want people to follow. He went over he's from that northern New England, northern upstate New York area. He is Black, and that makes Syracuse hiring back-to-back Black coaches, which is notable in college football. It hasn't happened as much. And by all accounts and all reports, this man is bringing the stuff that he learned down in Georgia up to Syracuse. There's a lot of buzz around Syracuse. Who's the quarterback that transferred there that it was what is going on here?
Kyle McCord from
Kyle McCord is the former Ohio State quarterback. Kyle McCord is at Syracuse. And it was considered okay, that's a surprise that he went to a school like Syracuse. So just wanted to point that one out. Tyler, sometimes you just got to remember who you are. You just got to remember your roots. As much as I love my beloved Florida Gators, as a South Florida kid, there's something special about Florida State, Miami when both teams are good. It's just different. It is truly something that is felt, at least down here, as a South Florida local native living here now my whole life. It's fun when those two teams are good. So I am actually really looking forward to that. That game's actually being played here in South Florida. It is being played on October 26th, which will be the first Saturday that I am not traveling for a wedding in a month. I may, depending on how my life is going at that point financially, if I can spare it a little bit, I may treat myself and go to and see if I can find a way to get to that game, because that's it's gonna be a fun game, and because Florida State's gonna be undefeated by the my bad, I forgot about that. Anyway, that is the game.
Did they fly? Did they fly?
Will they fly?
Is the plane cross over water?
Apparently, it's okay. Miami will have at least one loss by then too, so don't worry about that. Conference winner, Tyler. Who do you think?
Clemson. I don't feel great about it because they've just been kind of messing around the last couple of years and not doing it. But I just look at this conference and I'm like, okay, Miami and FSU and Clemson are the three teams. From what I've seen from FSU and what I believe about their team, I don't think they're going to do it. Miami is a big. I would have to be riding on Miami. A lot of positive things going for Miami, and Mario Cristobal did not ruin any of it with his in-game decisions. And NC State is an interesting pick. Louisville is also kind of a sleeper because they were in it last year.
They are a sleeper. They are a sleeper.
But I think that it's like I'll go with the guy who's done it.
I think I have to go with it by default. I think I have to agree with you by default. Is it too early to say Georgia Tech?
Probably. I don't feel like they're going to maintain this.
Come on. You took that one seriously. You took that seriously. That's not fair.
I mean, they are first in the conference currently.
I'm looking at the standings, 1-0. Ball don't lie. All right. Ball don't lie. I'll go Clemson by default. So, all right, Tyler, let's go through these next ones here. The American Conference, storyline or team you are most looking forward to?
Where's my notes? I had the thing written down.
If you'd like, I can go for you.
Go first.
It's the service academies showing up. And it's not necessarily how those teams are going to do. It's how does every other team in the conference do when they go up against the service academies, or even more, the week after the service academies. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. There's a lot of fun teams in this conference. It is not the American that you remember with Cincinnati and UCF and those teams, and Houston. Obviously, they're all in the Big 12, but it is a fun and I think really competitive conference, headlined by Tulane, of course, but includes great teams like FAU, Memphis, North Texas, USF is playing really well. So yeah, there's a lot of fun teams there. For me, it's the Naval Academy, both Army and Navy. The Naval and the Army academies are both in this conference, so I wonder how that's going to work out for both of them and the teams that play them.
For me, the team to follow is USF with Byron Brown and Alex Golesh did kind of a minor miracle there last year, and kind of with the way that the conference has shaken out in the last 2 years with UCF and Cincinnati leaving and Houston leaving. What's the new top? Memphis is kind of considered. Memphis and USF are probably considered the best like pipeline programs of that group. Maybe I mean,
I just want to know, like, do you have a personal vendetta against Raul? Like, is this a thing where
no? I was actually just about to
mention name FAU. No, not only do you not name FAU, you like name the two biggest rivals in this conference for FAU. Like, it's like a specific. Is it a bit? What are we doing here? Because he's listening. So like I'm wondering what's going on.
The other storyline that I was thinking about was like who can take control of the state of Florida in this conference, FAU or USF.
That is a legit take my FAU bias out of it.
It's a question because like USF has been bad, but USF I think has hit higher peaks than FAU in its history. Like
USF was the number 2 team in the country in 2007.
Pretty hard to argue with that. Like
yeah.
And USF's got the better quarterback now, which is not really even a part of the question. It's just a matter of like, okay, you got Tom Herman and Alex Golesh, two, I think we know at least good coaches. And I was like, UCF is gone. FIU's in a different conference. Who can take control of the state of Florida for this level? That's the question. I think USF is going to have a better season this year, but what is that? Is that really like, so the recruiting between those two schools and the development is maybe the question.
Agreed. Well, to that point, FAU USF is my game to watch this year, to the point where ESPN agrees. Like, it's on Friday, November 1st, and it's already locked in 7:30 p.m. ESPN2. Like,
it's a good time.
FAU USF is national TV on that Friday, first Friday in November. Let's lock in. So I think that I agree with you in terms of looking to see who that, and the state of Florida is important. The state of Florida is important to every single conference, every single team in the country. So wow. He puts FAU in lowercase in the rundown when writing it down. Man, you really got beef. You really got beef.
I'm not even meaning to do this.
No, but that's what I mean. It's subliminal to you. Like, what happened? What happened here? You were so happy for us during the Final Four run. Like, what's going on?
I legitimately am happy when you guys do well. Like,
this is my favorite bit. Pretending that Tyler has a hatred towards FAU, knowing damn well he doesn't. No, I know you don't, but it's just so funny to see happen. Tyler, what game are you most looking forward to in the American?
I mean, it's Army Navy being a conference game. I think that's
okay. So let me ask you a question. So what are they? They're not playing twice in the year. I thought that game wasn't considered a conference game because it's taking place.
Let me double check that
after.
Because I mean,
it can still be your game you're most looking forward to, but
it is the game I'm most looking forward to. Like, I'm not changing that, but like,
interesting though, because I think it's taking place the week like when it normally would, the week after conference championship week. So if that's the case, then it can't be a conference game because the American Conference champion will already have been crowned.
Interesting. I didn't see that. Yeah, it takes place after conference championship week. It's funny on the schedule. Weird. On the schedule, it lists it before the American championship game, but the dates like it's getting played December 14th, and the American championship game is December 6th. So that's weird.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
But still, Army Navy.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great pick.
I'm not changing my pick. I love that game.
No. And I'm going to ask you, are you agreeing with me that Tulane is conference winner?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, listen,
though I love the hire of John Summerall.
Yes, coming over from Troy.
Hire. Oh,
fantastic
I love it.
Yeah. Tulane's going to be playing some defense. It's going to be fun to watch. I agree. I think it's a great hire. So, okay, good. Tyler, arguably, and it's not just because we call it the Fun Belt, but might be one of the most fun conference in the country. It is the Sun Belt. Is there a storyline or team you're most looking forward to? This is one that, listen, I hope the American comes out as the top non-Power 4 conference in the country for obvious selfish FAU reasons. But it's hard to not look at the Sun Belt as the best at least the most entertaining non-P4 conference in the country. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but
no, I mean, I don't disagree at all.
Yeah. Is there a specific storyline or team you're looking forward to? We still got divisions, by the way. We still got divisions. They're keeping that tradition alive.
This is the last holdout. I think Texas State is the team I'm most interested in because I think Texas State is going to have a really fun offense.
Jordan McLeod is now the quarterback there. Transfers over from JMU. I like that. I think that's
they're the team I'm most interested. Honorary mention to Troy. Because Troy replaces a lot on both sides, but they won the conference back to back. They replace a lot on defense, a lot on and a lot on offense, but they have a new hire. It's very interesting. I still feel like it's the thing of like they may be replacing a lot, but the bones are really good there. So like how you have to account for that, especially at a G5 level.
And the guy that they hired comes from that Summerall, Neil Brown, Troy legacy. So I agree. I think it's a good.
That being said, Texas State is the most interesting because I think they'll be really fun, especially with Jordan McLeod on offense to watch. I think they're gonna score a lot of points.
They're also in the Sun Belt West, which is the weaker of the two. So
and the more interesting one.
Agreed. Because Troy's in there as well. You got whatever the hell's going on.
Arkansas State,
Louisiana,
State,
South Alabama.
Oh no, Jacksonville State is in CUSA. Never mind.
Correct. Yes, they're in CUSA. For me, it's App as a whole. Are we like? Can we get back to App establishing themselves as this is our conference? I would love to see that happen. In a perfect world, Texas State and App State is my conference championship game. I would love to see that.
Fun.
And I guess since we're here, I might as well pick it, Tyler. I have App State winning the conference, and I think it's for that kind of narrative situation. Hopefully they can make the playoff because I think that the Sun Belt is good enough for that to happen. So yes, that's my conference champion. You can go ahead and give me either the game or the conference champion for you, Tyler.
I'm also going to pick App State to win the conference. That's not really a surprise, but
okay.
I think the game I'm most looking forward to is Arkansas State at Texas State. With Butch Jones has done actually a pretty good job at Arkansas State. They've got a really good offensive line. They can run the ball. Whereas Texas State has a really good, probably going to have a really good passing attack. with spread and tread. So I think that is a styles make fights game that I am looking forward to.
Okay, I like that. For me, I'm going to give you my game to watch. I'm going to quickly give you two that I'm very interested in. They all have to do with App. I'm looking at this conference through the eyes of App State this year. Number one, App travels to Death Valley to play Clemson. It's a night game, so, a bit more difficult, but you never know. App is a notorious upsetter. App and Liberty on September 28th truly has the potential to be playoff eliminator. So very excited for that one. But my actual official game will be App State and JMU on the 23rd of November. I'm interested because JMU, they lost their coach. Coach went over to Indiana, but, they're still a perennial power in this area. So I would like to see if they are going to keep it up, JMU, and to see how they fare up to what I believe to be the best team in the conference. So interesting game there. To the Mountain West we go, Tyler. To the Mountain West we go. Do you have a storyline and or team that you are most looking forward to here?
I mean, on a selfish level, I'm most interested in the New Mexico Lobos because I took them as my online dynasty team.
Yes, sir.
To appease the lady. We went 4-8 in our first season, not our best. But the bones are being built. It's a week. It's a year -1. But I really like Devon Dampier. They've already lost a game, so it feels right on track. But I think that's the cheating answer. Kind of the storyline I'm most looking forward to is Boise State. Fired Andy Avalos, kept the interim, which I do believe Splits and Do It talked about this, but it's like that used to be kind of like you don't want to keep the interim just because the guys like him. In today's age of the transfer portal and rosters being rated,
not a bad idea.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
There's
especially if those guys want them there.
Yeah, and it's just like we got to keep this. But is that Boise State hasn't been what we think of Boise State as for a while now. And it's like, are they going to be able to get back to it? So that's, I think, extremely interesting to me.
And then also interesting too, because Malachi Nelson was supposed to be their starting quarterback, but it was announced that he lost out the job. So that former 5-star USC quarterback, it's pretty interesting now that he's not going to be there. So what do they have? What do they think they have there that makes them that confident?
The good thing is they have one of the best running backs in the nation, Ashton Genty.
Yeah, that's true. That does help. Interesting.
For
me, my storyline is the one and only Sean Lewis taking over San Diego State University.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And how fast do they get the offense rolling there? Because
San Diego State with a good offense seems like it's not allowed to happen.
Yeah, no, but it's like vibes. You should take a trip down there if you can, man. Like it seems like it's like a vibe situation and fun offense going on there. Like it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool in my opinion. I think it'll be fun. That's like the storyline I'm looking forward to. And now the game, Tyler. What game are you most looking forward to in the Mountain West?
I think Colorado State at Air Force is actually very interesting to me as to the two Colorado schools in this conference. I think both very exciting. I think Colorado State kind of got on a national level by losing a game, but it was an exciting game last year. But they've got some good wide receivers. They've got a promising quarterback, whereas Air Force is also just like a darling of like college football media. They're fun to watch, but they can never really sustain it. But I don't know. It's just an interesting game to me.
For me, I'm looking at Colorado State at Fresno State, the 23rd of November. It's 10:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. Buddy, if that doesn't spell a long day of college football and I can fall asleep in the second half of this game, I don't know what does. But as a whole,
it's crazy that I'm going to get to watch it at 7:30.
Yeah, you know what it is? That's not how this game should be watched, Tyler. This game should be watched on the couch, way too tired after watching all the other games, maybe a few too many beverages consumed, or in my bed with Milady next to me going, are you still watching college football? That I want to be asked.
It is my responsibility as a fan of college football.
It is 12:30 in the morning. Do you really need to know what's going on with Fresno State and Colorado State? And the answer is yes, I do. So Yeah, but that's a game that Fresno State last year, great offense, and then Colorado State seems to be improving and should be improving. Also Colorado State plays Colorado at 7:30 Eastern on like national CBS on the 14th of September. So if you want to take a look at that one,
we haven't talked about Colorado basically much at all today, which has been
for
nice.
good reason, Tyler.
Yeah.
There's not much to talk about outside of the PR circus,
or
the fact that they banned a Denver Post reporter because he was too critical of the team. Grow a backbone, Colorado, and let the journalists do their job.
I am interested to see what Colorado and Nebraska is. It's a game I didn't get to put in because it wasn't a conference game.
Yeah, that's true.
Colorado and Nebraska is interesting to me.
A traditional rivalry game. So
conference winner, I have UNLV actually with Barry Odom. I think he's done a really good job there.
I'm gonna gamble on Boise because, like we said earlier, like what's it gonna look like? But like you said, they got a great running back. Clearly, they believe. What's the name of this quarterback that beat out Malachi Nelson? Boise. This is podcasting is so good. We are professionals. Ashton Genty, the running back, and wow, PFF, do better, PFF. Boise State is the current betting favorite, blah, 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 blah. Led by superstar running back Ashton Genty. I just can't believe I butchered his name. And an exciting new quarterback in Malachi Nelson. Buddy, Malachi Nelson did not start the name the starter. Taylor Green.
Okay.
Yeah, Taylor Green. There we go. Okay, so Taylor Green. I'm gambling on it working out. So CUSA. Listen, we can condense CUSA because I think the storyline is the new teams. Jacksonville State coming in, bringing in these brand new teams in that sense. I'm going to assume that was going to be yours, or
I mean, yeah, it's there's two, I think, storylines in this. It's the new teams because there's a bunch of new teams. I mean, Sam Houston had their first year last year. JMU, Jacksonville State. But the other one is just like, can Liberty run it? Can Liberty run the table? Like,
yeah, I agree.
Their schedule is not hard.
Not at all.
And so, yeah, I think it's like, can Liberty run the table?
You mean you don't want to talk about FIU Stadium being named Pipple Stadium? You don't want to name after?
I wouldn't say it's a storyline more like a fun fact.
Tyler, that's the subplot to the Miami FSU game this year down here. Okay, like the Pipple Stadium is gonna be great. Yeah, the new teams is mine. Like, just to see how these new teams happen. And what does this like? What is this conference?
This is the
like, what is
I
this
hate
conference?
To say it. This is the cast off conference. This is the
leftovers,
like the rejects. This is the leftovers.
I hate that phrase because all college football.
I hate it too, but it's true. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong.
Sorry, no. This is the holdovers. People who don't have a home to go to at this time of year.
Which, if you haven't seen that movie, don't watch it now. Wait till Christmas. I promise you're going to want to watch it at Christmas. Fantastic film. Is there a specific game amongst the holdovers that you were looking forward to?
I think Western Kentucky at Liberty, because I believe that they are going to be the biggest like contender.
Yeah.
And
I think they'll rematch in the conference championship game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I do believe that Liberty is going to win the conference.
Unfortunately, the libs. I'm going to take the libs.
I do not think that Liberty will be good enough to really do anything in the playoff, but it is their right as probably the highest ranked Group of 5 team to.
I don't really like using the phrase "it is their right" when talking about Liberty. Kind of gets misconstrued amongst a certain demographic, to put it politely. the demographic that won't take
Bad
you guys to be called the libs.
My apologies.
Yeah, exactly. I also believe Liberty will win the conference. To the Pac-12, that has two teams, Washington State and Oregon State. The question here is simply Wazoo or the Beavs.
I think for this year, Wazoo. I think
I agree.
Losing Jonathan Smith is a little too much.
So I have a question for you. Does our spiritual fandom of the Oregon State Beavers that we've had on this podcast for the past few years, specifically since Jonathan Smith took over. Does Michigan State inherit that, or do we just let it lie?
No, I think it has split custody. Because
we're doing joint custody here. Okay.
I think it's joint custody because I think that I still am in love with Jonathan Smith as a coach.
Me too. And I understand. I get him leaving. I get it from a business career perspective. It's like
at the time I was like, but this team is so good and Michigan State's so bad. And you're like, look at the conference outlook and you're like, yeah, buddy, you should leave now because there's not going to be a better time. Like,
yeah.
But
like if I'm an Oregon State fan, I don't hold it against them.
No, but like these are the two easiest teams in the country to root for, in my opinion, because they've been screwed over. And I'm hoping the answer to all this is that the Mountain West rebrands as the Pac-12 or 14 or whatever, and that name brand recognition can get them a couple of dollars in advertising, which can hopefully rise up some of these schools. That's an extremely helpful thing that I don't think is going to happen. I would rather the Mountain West rebrand as the Pac-14 or Pac, I don't know the number, with these two schools than them.
I would just call it the Pacific West. I'd call it the Pacific West.
Kind of redundant, don't you think?
I mean,
you just call it the PC, the Pacific Conference. Southeast does it. You need it. Why do they put numbers on it? We got a Big 12 that's 16 teams. We got a Big 10 that's 18 teams. Why are we doing this? Like, it's more understandable that the Southeastern Conference isn't strictly in the Southeast than these. Right. I can't get behind these numbers. I can't do it. Like,
I'm with you, my man.
Now I got to change to the Big 16, the Big 18, which is too close.
Listen, I will say
there's Southwestern Conference.
There's one game to watch here, and obviously it's Wazoo against Oregon State. But I want to let everyone know
who it is.
I want to let everyone know that game's going to be November 23rd, 6:30 Eastern. It's on the CW network, which we got to
kick a guy while they're down.
We got to do better as a college football society. We have got to do better. This is the equivalent of like, can we put some funding in the VA and treat the veterans with respect? Like, can we please, at the very least, help out these two teams and like expose them properly?
They did nothing wrong.
Literally nothing wrong.
I mean,
I still believe that they should have kept.
But whatever.
I still believe that they should have kept every penny of the Pac-12's media money from last year.
Every
single other team shouldn't have gotten a cent.
I'm actually kind of confused as to why the Big 12 didn't take them personally. Like,
honestly, geography. I heard this on Split Zone Duo. They were talking about specifically Wazoo, that like Pullman is in like Idaho, like might as well be in like Idaho or Wyoming, like hard to get to. And a conference like the Big 12, they probably need, they need more.
The Pac-12 teams that they took make sense for their geography. Like,
exactly. Like there's no United hub near Pullman or where does Oregon State at? What's the name of that city? Corvallis. Thank you very much. So, all right.
On to the most generic conference in all of college football.
Well, it's time for our annual tradition, Tyler, of not talking about the MAC and simply picking a MAC team. So, Tyler, pick a MAC team.
Miami of Ohio. They will be the good Miami this year.
I'm going to go with Akron.
Okay.
Awesome. Great conversation about the MAC, Tyler, as always.
I have nothing else to add.
All righty. We've been going a long time, Tyler. So let's just go through some of these games and quickly pick through them. And then we can talk about them next week after they happen. But really quickly, we'll go over week 0. We had 4 games. We've been making fun of it the whole episode. Listen, Georgia Tech 24, Florida State 21. I adored the beginning of this game. Florida State drives. They do their thing. They go for 2 with a weird trick play, and they get it. And what did I send in our fantasy football group chat, Tyler, immediately when it happened? I said, oh, no, go ahead, please.
No, you go. I don't remember the exact words. You can tell it better than me.
I said, I cannot believe that they're going trick play on a 2-point conversion on the first drive of the season when they know that all eyes are on them as the literal first game of the year. This team is cooked. Like, if they're doing this at this point in the season, they're cooked. And then FSU fans came out and they were like, let's go, let's do this. And then Georgia Tech came out and they ran the football down their throats.
They have one play in this offense, and it's run through somebody's face. Did you see Brent Key after the game? He was just like, "Are you kidding me? Run the ball." He's one of us. They straight up pulled out a Tebow offense in that Haynes King. They were just like, we're running you. Like, and it's. I think the game was. I was shocked at how much Georgia Tech's offensive line pushed FSU off the ball. Now, we don't know yet because we don't have enough sample size. Is FSU's spine of their defense just terrible? Or can get pushed around? Were supposed to be. Or is Georgia Tech's offensive line, because their head coach is an offensive line guy, like, is this just a really good offensive line?
Which, by the way, in a parentheses, is the biggest concern I have for the Miami game. Because the Miami offensive line is going to be good because Mario Cristobal is an offensive line guy. But yes, please continue.
So we don't have the sample size to really make, like, that's the crazy thing about week 1 that I don't, or week 0 that I want to ever react to, is that you're like, you don't know why you're seeing what you're seeing. Is Georgia Tech's offensive line just going to win the Bobby Dowd Award, and FSU actually is going to be mostly fine against the run? They just couldn't handle the best unit in the country. Possible.
Yeah.
Or is Florida State's defensive line just bad after all the losses last year? Can they just get run on? I'm not sure. But it's fascinating. Amazing game plan. I also had friends in our little college football dynasty league group chat. A bunch of us were like, I didn't say anything, but a lot of people were like, why did they go for 2? And the FSU fans were like, Norvell doesn't do anything for a reason. Now, here's what you're doing. Every team is going to have to practice against that. So it's like you're going to spend 20 to 30 minutes in your practice practicing against that. And it may not seem like much, but it's going to add up over the season. I'm like, he's like, Norvell does everything for a reason. I'm like, yeah, the reason might be that they're not that good. And we don't know. But
I just love that
DJ Uyunglele was exactly who he has been for all 49 starts of his career.
Yep, 3 different teams in 5 years.
They lost a lot of talent, and Georgia Tech just had a better game plan, was more clutch, and was more physical.
Yeah,
like
I also think
physical.
I also think there's this aspect of Mike Norvell. There's the stereotype of Lane Kiffin, Portal King. Like FSU fans would be like, yeah, but the real Portal King is Mike Norvell. It's like, okay, cool. That could be very well true. But like at the exact same time, like the guys may not gel right away. Like,
and that's, you're seeing it.
Personality. Yeah. And you might have seen that. So FSU may very well have a good season. And like you said, Georgia Tech may very well just be a really good running team and have a great offensive line. But, I'm still going to get these jokes off.
You gotta. We haven't lost a game yet, so this is prime time.
Nope.
I think that. I mean, the thing too is that like with Mike Norvell is that I think he's good off its mind, but like you have to at some point you have to pay the bill on the fact that you haven't gotten to really recruit a quarterback, or like he just hasn't gotten a quarterback to come to FSU for
and
whatever
his high school
reason.
Recruiting like is not as good as it should be at an FSU level. He's a really good portal recruiter, but when Mario's doing what he's doing with high schools in Miami, when Napier's doing what he's doing with high schools at Florida, when
the bill
Gus
comes
is
due
doing
at some point.
This
Orlando.
is
the bill came due for us with Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You never know. We will see. All right. Montana State 35, New Mexico 31. Shout out to Montana State. FCS school goes into there. I apologize, Tyler. I know the New Mexico has a soft spot in your heart.
The only reason New Mexico is in this is because they had 2 scoop and score touchdowns on the defense.
Yes.
So New Mexico, Bronco Mendenhall, I think good hire for New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Interested in their long term. They were never going to be good this season. Trust me, I know.
Agreed. Especially a week 0 game, first time. Yeah. No. SMU 29, Nevada 24. Nevada, you had it, and you had it in your hands. And you let it slip. They had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter that they blew. And SMU goes on to win. So I watched most of this game, actually turned it off in the third quarter because I went home and I just didn't turn it back on and got the alert right before I went to bed. And I was like, no, are you kidding me? I was hoping they'd win. But and then Hawaii 35, Delaware State 14. Delaware State missed their flight. leaving here, and so Tyler, actually, you ever try to throw a football when you fly across the country, across the world?
Evidently, it's an unfair situation to put somebody in to
Yeah,
throw a
maybe we
football
just shouldn't
after
schedule
having.
these
Okay.
games.
This is the thing that I've dealt with as a Jaguars fan whose team plays in London every year is when people have to take long trips, especially internationally. And I am talking about UFSU fans. Is that like
just in case you didn't realize?
It's the same thing the Bills did last year when they lost to us, where it was just like, well, they were jet lagged. They weren't playing well. It's just like, okay, get here earlier.
You mean the Bills fans are just as annoying as the Florida State fan? Oh, I'm shocked. As a Miami Dolphins fan, I'm shocked. Well, Tyler, it was just way too hot. That when they played out here, right? You know that, right?
It's like, hey, you knew that was going to happen. Why didn't you do anything about it? It's like, hey, he didn't discover that the game was going to be in Ireland, or in this case, Hawaii, like today.
Right. Like, it's not a shocker. Okay.
I don't take the lack of preparation in that it was unfair. I just don't. I mean, like, if one team's coming off a bye week and you're coming off a short week and you have to travel, yeah, that makes sense. It's week 0.
Yeah, dude. Get over it.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. So that was week 0. Those 4 games happened quickly. Miami and Florida. 3:30 Eastern. ABC. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer on the call.
Oh, love it.
This is the new ESPN sickos A team is what I'm going to call it, because the true A team is always going to be Fowler and Kirk. And your opinion,
this is a good 3:30 team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, your opinions on Fowler and Herbstreit, on Kirk Herbstreit, whatever they may be, I probably personally agree with those opinions. But the fact of the matter is, they still are the preeminent college football broadcasting team in the country, just hands down. They are great at their job. 8:00 primetime game, the game day game, it's going to be great. But the 3:30 slot has become, thanks to the SEC on CBS, has become a very important time slot in college football. And I love that Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer are the ones that have that for this year, especially that first year of the SEC on ESPN and ABC. So, yeah, I love that they're going to be calling this game. Tyler, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Thoughts on this? What don't I have thoughts about on this game? Yeah, I think, thank God this is in the swamp. It's gonna that's gonna be an advantage.
Thank God.
To me.
Which, by the way, before we go any further, I once again want to remind all freshmen at the University of Florida to drink water and eat a meal before you go tailgating. Okay, please get something in your system. It's gonna be hot. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, thoughts on this game. I think this is going to really swing. I hate to put the pressure on it because usually I don't think these week 1 games matter too much, but like this is really going to put a lot of pressure on Florida's season. I think you need this win. And I think I'm obviously interested to see the offensive side of the ball where I think we'll be good. And I'm interested to see what level of a jump Graham Mertz has taken. Has he taken a Kyle Trask level jump? Because we have a lot of receiving talent. Maybe not as good as the Kyle Trask year. And I'm not saying Graham Mertz is Kyle Trask year. We had NFL players, which we may have now.
Yeah.
But like
Kyle Trask had 2 first round NFL draft picks as his weapons.
With that, we have good talent. We know that. Interested to see how the offensive line holds up. I think running back will be fine, even with Montrell's injury, which I think he'll probably be back from. But like, we're fine at running back. That's not my issue.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I don't think Graham Mertz will be as good as Kyle Trask. That's not my point. But like, what's the jump? Is he just kind of the same, but a little better command of the offense? And that's great. Does he take a drastic step? Because he was good last year. He was efficient. He was good against pressure. And with 2 new good receivers, Shamir DK and who has chemistry with, and Elijah Badger, who I'm very excited to see, matched with Trey Wilson and a lot of the other young talent we have, his offense can be really good thrown in a balanced way. That's not my question. My biggest question about this game is how improved does the defense look? And also, how does that match up with the wild man himself, Cam Ward? Because Cam Ward has only is very talented, can throw a damn ball, can run the damn ball. He makes turnovers. He turns the ball over, or more accurately, he puts the ball in harm's way with the way he plays. He also plays in a way that it's very high risk, high reward. how high, like, is it going to be risk or reward? Is this because last year this defense was not in a position to create turnovers. It just didn't create turnovers.
No.
It was good on a down to down basis, bad at giving up explosives, and was not good at giving up turnovers. Is Ron Roberts' addition going to really help with that? What's this? This is the matchup I'm fascinated to see, because I think we'll be able to move the ball against the defense. But I think that Florida. I think Miami's being overrated, and that Florida can win. But I just don't know how comfortable I feel picking that.
There's 4 ways that a game can go, right? You can win big, you can win small, you can lose small, or you can lose big, right? Those are the only 4 ways that typically you can go. Personally, there's 2 ways that this game goes. It's a close game, Miami or Florida, or Florida is getting blown out, personally. And the way that Florida gets blown out is if the defense does not show those improvements that we talked about. Like, it's not, the secondary isn't in sync, communicating with each other, and those dangerous throws that Cam Ward is prone to make actually work in his favor because the defense is not communicating and the secondary is not communicating. And we still haven't fixed those Billy Napier issues that we have talked about, where, game management, clock management, thinking straight, have your head on straight, those kind of situations. So that's how Florida gets blown out. Florida wins a close game because I actually do buy into the Miami Hive. I really do. I think they're a good football team this year. I do have the same intrigue to see what Cam Ward looks like. But I think the offensive line is looking good. I've also been hearing it down here a bit more. I've been starting to listen a bit more to 790, some of the sports radio stuff down here. I've been kind of listening here and there on my lunch break, stuff like that. And it seems like the O-line is gelling for the Hurricanes. So
I'm not surprised.
With that being said,
it should be the position they're best at.
It should be exactly. So I'm not surprised on that front that that's happening because of Mario Cristobal.
It's just like how wide receiver, given Billy Napier's tenure, wide receiver should be the position we're best at. And look, it is.
Well, so far so good, right? So yeah, I agree with you there. I am interested to see how Graham Mertz, same as you, develops. I'm also interested to see if we're going to be working DJ Lagway into some packages, because as someone who's now, worked in the sports business for a few years, you don't get a Gatorade national commercial spot without at least a plan of exposure going forward. I'm not saying he's starting over Mertz, because he's not, but are we going to get some Tebow 06 packages, Chris Leaka quarterback situations going on? Because I feel like he can do it. How much are we going to see of Lagway? I don't think we're going to see much in this game particularly, but going forward through the season, maybe there are a couple packages that kind of people show, hey, the guy's here, our guy for the future's here, that kind of situation. So I'm going to pick Florida to win in a close game, in a good game. I'm hoping this is an instant classic situation.
I'm so nervous.
I'm very nervous about this game. I would much rather just talk about what happens. I think we can.
What I'm hoping is that Trey Wilson is taking the Ricky Pearsall jump.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he can.
I think he can take the Ricky Pearsall jump, but I also think the whole DK relationship with Mertz is going to help, and we're going to have a couple of guys that are going to be there. Aiden Mizell looks pretty good in terms of speed.
Totally forgot about him. Arlo Sportingham is an athlete at tight end.
Yes, well, at the very least, how I've been using them in NCAA in the college football game. I've been running those tight end fades. I've been checking into those tight end fade routes all the time, my friend. So, yeah.
Last thought is that, I think the game plan for Florida in this game is you have to force a natural risk taker in Cam Ward into bad odds.
Yeah, I agree.
And Stephen Calvin said that Lane Kiffin, but it's the same for the way Cam Ward takes, and kind of the same for Mario Cristobal, because he makes weird decisions. But force the risk takers on the team into bad odds.
So put Cristobal in a decision to think about taking a knee. Got it. All right. And if Jason Marshall III is used in any way that I've been using him in NCAA, it should be a good opportunity. going up against Cam.
The game seems to think we're going to be good this year. But
it does, my friend. It does.
I don't know how I feel about that.
All right, let's get into 5 wide and 2 point real quick here. If you're new around here, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So sorry to put you through all of this time per usual. But our 5 wide and 2 point is basically our way of picking games this season. It is a season-long picks competition between Tyler and I. We pick 5 games, the 5 games that we believe that if you can only make time for a couple of games, you pick them from this list. These are the 5 games that we believe are the biggest games of the week. We always exclude the Florida Gators because we'll always briefly talk about the Gators as Florida fans. So these are all those other games. By rule, I don't want to say by rule, but by default, by, kind of a vibes pick, Tyler, if you would say. If there's 2 ranked teams playing, we typically put them in there. And then after that, it's kind of, based on situation, conference, what's going on here. Like that App State Liberty game, that week will end up on the 5 wide. It may not be a top 25 matchup, but it is an important game that we believe if you want to watch all of college football, you should be watching at least some of these games. So first one up, Tyler. Oh, you get 1 point for every one of those. And then Tyler and I basically get a wild card where each of us pick an additional game, different one each week, that if we get correct, we get 2 points on. So 5 wide and 2 point at the end of the season. We'll tally them all up, and the winner will be able to have bragging rights for a whole season. Tyler, I believe you are the reigning champion, correct?
I mean, some say. I haven't really kept up with it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Someone go check his Twitter bio. Starting up, Tyler, Thursday night, 8:00 Eastern on Fox, North Carolina taking on Minnesota. Who do you got here?
Damn, that's crazy. It says better at picking college football games and brackets than you.
Will you pick the game? Stop living in the past.
I'm going to take Minnesota.
Well, I was taking North Carolina anyway because I will actually be with a group of North Carolina fans, and I don't want to actively cheer against their team. So I will be taking North Carolina. Next up, number 14, Clemson, taking on number 1, Georgia. It is a team in Atlanta. It is on Saturday, noon Eastern kickoff on ABC. I picked first here, Tyler. So let's go. Oh, I didn't even ask you. Did you want to go first on 2 point?
I did, and here I don't know. Okay, so whoever goes first on the game on the 5 wide goes second on 2 point. Is that it? Or
yeah, I think we alternate. I just left it there because I by default was gonna let you get my fault. Okay.
Yeah,
but we alternate. So next week you'll have the pick. You'll have it.
I'm good. All right.
I mean, I'm gonna assume we're both taking Georgia here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, it's we're doing that.
I'm curious to see if we get the Dabo conversation this early, or if people show smart judgment.
We will. Be honest with yourself. You know it's coming.
Look at me trying to be reasonable on the pod. All right, so we both have
the wrong sport, bud.
Yeah, for real. I know. Number 8, Penn State, heading to Morgantown to take West Virginia on same time, noon Eastern on Fox.
That's a good game.
While your NFL fan friends are looking at Clemson, Georgia, the sickos over here are going to be watching Penn State potentially blow a game against Neil Brown and the West Virginia Mountaineers. 12 Eastern on Fox. Tyler, you pick first. Who do you have here?
I'm going to take Penn State.
Okay.
Even though I really do think that West Virginia is going to be good this year in like a plucky way. But I think Penn State's James Franklin is destined to be the first man to lose a home playoff game in the
that is one of my favorite bits.
I can't see it. It's wrong if it happens any other way, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm buying in on Neil Brown.
It. You know you want to.
I am, and I'm doing it. I'm buying in on Neil Brown. I'm taking West Virginia.
Oh, you're a better man than me. Oh.
They had a great end to the year last year.
They really did.
Neil Brown saved his job, and I think that is just going to propel him up in terms of the energy around the program. So I think a big home win against Penn State, it's going to be a good move. Number 7, Notre Dame heads to College Station to take on number 20, Texas A&M, 7:30 Eastern kick on ABC. I get the first pick here. So I have actually been very adamant that I think the Gators can beat A&M, and it's because of Mike Elko. I think he's going to need a couple of months to really start to turn it around. So I think I'd be a hypocrite if I picked against them. I will say, going to be a tough environment for Notre Dame. New quarterback. This is actually interesting because it's former Duke quarterback Riley Leonard taking on former Duke coach Mike Elko. It's going to be very interesting to see there because he's now Riley Leonard is now the quarterback of Notre Dame. But I do like Marcus Freeman a lot. I do like the infrastructure at Notre Dame right now. I'm going to
talk about them in the preview because they don't have a conference. But
I mean, that's their own fault though, right?
100%. I think Riley Leonard, if he's healthy, will be pretty good at Notre Dame. I think they'll be fine. But the thing is that, I think Texas A&M will be good in the long term under Mike Ilko. Even maybe this season, I really could see them winning that Texas game at the end of the year. I think early it's going to take a minute to gel, like you said.
Well, that's my logic behind the Gators beating them. So yeah, I think that philosophy kind of stays. So yeah, Notre Dame. And then number 23 USC goes to Vegas, where they will meet up against LSU, ranked 13th in the country, Sunday night. It is the only game on Sunday, 7:30 Eastern on ABC, our annual Sunday night game that we have. I get first. You get first pick. Who do you have?
I get first pick on this.
This one's tough.
I really don't know what I want to do here.
This honestly, this game is probably the game I'm most interested in from a neutral perspective for the whole weekend. Obviously, the Gators Miami game is the one I'm most interested in, but USC LSU is the one I'm interested in from a neutral perspective because what's going to happen with USC and their defense and Lincoln Riley and all this stuff? LSU, they lose a lot of talent. Nussmeier's taken over. The defense, can they improve? Or I'm sorry, can they stay at the very least the same? You know what I mean? As a good defense. I don't know what's going on there. So, Tyler, I don't envy you for having the first pick here. Who do you have?
This is hard.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think, oh boy. I actually think LSU has a chance to be pretty good this year. Like I said, 9-3, because I think Garrett Nussmeier might be good. But I'm going to go with USC here because I think Miller Moss showed a lot in that bowl game. And we know that Lincoln Riley knows how to coach offense. And I think Blake Baker was a great hire for the LSU defense. I'm not sure how good it's going to materialize in the first game.
Oh, man. I kind of want to agree with you. but I'm not sure. You know what? For the sake of competitiveness, I'll go LSU. For the sake of competitiveness.
I love it. I
all
briefly considered going to this game because it's in Vegas, which is pretty close. But your boy's not made of money.
Your boy's not made of money. Neither is this boy over here who just got back from the mechanic. So agree with you there. All right, I have 2 points. So the fun thing about 2 point listeners, if you're new, is that we do not tell each other. We put all of these games on the rundown, but we leave the 2 points blank. So interested to see what we pick here.
I mean, I feel like I know what you're gonna pick.
Do you? Let's have some fun. North Dakota State University. Come on down.
Good one.
Let's go into Colorado and beat them up. 8:00 Eastern on ESPN Thursday night. So this is one of those day one. I love it. Let me rip the Band-Aid off. First night of the college football weekend. Let me get my 2 point in there. So I'll take North Dakota State over Colorado. Colorado, what were you doing scheduling a game against North Dakota State? Like, everyone knows you don't schedule. It's like, oh, I'm going to play an FCS team. Oh, great. Easy win.
Pick any other one.
Right. Who are you playing? That's an easy win. Who are you beating? North Dakota State. Oh, good luck with that. So I'll take North Dakota State. Who do you have? What did you think I was going to take?
I thought you were going to take FAU or Michigan State.
Well, no. The only thing I'm taking in FAU and Michigan State is the under, because Michigan State quarterback Aiden Childs told reporters, if you bet, take the over, which, by the way, number one,
is that illegal?
Well, I was going to say, it's a very creative way to get yourself investigated. Like, very creative way to get yourself investigated. Number one.
Offered that up. Like
number two, all this disrespect against FAU, you'd think you were Tyler. What's up with you, Aiden Childs? What's up with you? It's all this disrespect against the Owls? What's wrong with you, my man? You're going to find out.
Jonathan Smith, rang him a new one because he's like,
absolutely.
We love FAU in this house.
Of course he does.
We love Jonathan Smith from the Pacific Northwest. We love the
exactly. Listen, I don't want the Jonathan Smith era to start with a loss, but like if it's at the hands of FAU, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad about it. What's your 2 point, Tyler?
I think I have to go, if I can find the game. There it is. I think I'm going to go with a fun matchup of two teams that are pretty evenly ranked. I'm going to go with TCU over Stanford.
That's fun. I like that.
Because I like that a lot. I think it'll actually be a really fun matchup. TCU.
When is that game?
Friday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN at Stanford. But
so you picked a 7:30 on Friday night?
Yeah, you got.
I thought you had stuff to do. I thought that's what the whole thing.
No, it's just that I could do stuff.
It's just the option.
I like the option. I like my Hawaii games to be done at 10:30 p.m.
Boo, loser. If I'm not getting yelled at for staying up too late by my girlfriend, did I even watch a Hawaii game?
But no, I think TCU will be better than they were last year. They were 5-7 last year, coming off a national title appearance. What a swing! I think they'll be good. I think Sonny Dykes just got that. Stanford's got that situation. I think Stanford in the transfer portal era it's going to be tough for them because with the way that they have to recruit. But I feel like Stanford has some talent, has some serious NFL talent on it. Mm-hmm. But I think TCU, I like that offense. I'm very excited for that. I think TCU is going to win.
Makes sense. Hey, FSU fans, don't look at TCU last year after having a really successful season. Just want to point that out.
Also, don't look at your schedule because you play Boston College.
All right, to recap, 5 wide and 2 point. North Carolina, Minnesota, Thursday, 8:00 Eastern on Fox. I have North Carolina. Tyler has Minnesota. Clemson, Georgia, neutral site at Mercedes-Benz, 12 Eastern on ABC. We both have Georgia. Penn State, West Virginia in Morgantown, 12 Eastern on Fox. Tyler has Penn State. I have the Mountaineers. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. We both have the Fighting Irish, that of no conference affiliation. USC, LSU, Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Tyler has USC, his hometown team, and I have LSU in that matchup. Sir.
We are San Jose State fans in this household.
I so apologize, Tyler.
I just agree. We are New Mexico Lobos fans in this household.
There it is. There it is.
Hannah has actually said she's like, I don't like because I did not do well in this first season. She's like, I don't like that your love for me is making you do bad at this game.
You have to really quickly share.
I ordered my home field sweater for the New Mexico Lobos, so it's too late now.
You know what that means? For the listeners, I'm starting an online dynasty with some friends of mine, and I have picked UCF because we had to pick Big 12 teams. For the similar reasons Tyler did for the girlfriend. That means I have to now order some UCF gear.
See, she'll make you do that. Hannah did not make me do this at all. This is my own foolishness.
maybe I can spin it around the October 5th Florida UCF game, which, by the way, listeners, will be an existential day of dread for me. So,
brother, that is honestly, it's that and the Kentucky game that are the ones I'm least looking forward to.
Tyler, there's 12 games on the schedule.
Purely for the bad that could come if we lose.
There's 12 games on the schedule, and 11 of them I'm genuinely anxious about. So yes, those were our 5 wide and 2 points. My 2 points, I have North Dakota State over Colorado. Tyler has TCU over Stanford. So that you know, other notable games this week. Thursday is that North Dakota State game I mentioned. Friday, Temple takes on Oklahoma, 7:00 Eastern on ESPN. FAU takes on Michigan State at the same time on the Big Ten Network. Western Michigan, Wisconsin, 9:00 on the Big Ten Network after that FAU game. I'm really intrigued by that. That'll be fun. And then Tyler's aforementioned TCU Stanford game, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. Saturday, Virginia Tech takes on Vandy at 12 Eastern on ESPN. That should be a fun one. Boise takes on Georgia Southern at 4 o'clock on ESPNU, all times Eastern, by the way. Old Dominion, South Carolina, 4:15 on the SEC network. I put this game in here because similar to your reason about the SEC, where like, where do these teams kind of fall in the hierarchy? I'm curious to see how South Carolina looks against like a scrappy, ODU has beaten Virginia Tech twice before. Like there's a lot that they can do. So I'm in that kind of, let's see what happens. North Texas, South Alabama, 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN Plus. Richmond, Virginia, 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus. UNLV in Houston. This is a fun one for the beginning of the
I almost picked that one as my 2-point because that looks
fun. That looks fun. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff on FS1. Fresno State, Michigan, 7:30 Eastern on NBC. I put this here because this is the first of the NBC's Big Ten contract where they will be showing. Last year they did it for a few games, but also put them on Peacock. So they're showcasing them again here. And Fresno State, like I said, I like that team. I just like how they play. Georgia State, Georgia Tech, 8 o'clock Eastern first place ACC, Georgia Tech, 8 o'clock on the ACC network, on their network, because
my favorite bit from that game was FSU is now the first ever team in sole possession of 17th place in the ACC.
That's so good. New Mexico against Arizona at 10:30 on ESPN. And then arguably more fun, Wyoming, Arizona State.
That'll be a fun game.
On FS1, right? That looks cool, right? And then on Monday, we already mentioned the Sunday night USC LSU game. And then Monday night, Boston College FSU, 7:30 on ESPN. Look at FSU. Opening the college football season and then closing out the best weekend of the year for college football. Just prime time. This is what you wanted, FSU. You wanted the national spotlight. You wanted the national attention, and you got it. So just don't lose to Boston College.
I kind of hate it when Boston College and Florida State play, to be honest with you, because they basically have the same uniforms, except for Boston College has the 8-bit version of it. Like, has the retro bowl version where they can't put a logo on the helmet. They can only make it a color. They don't got the bandwidth for that.
Oh, man. Tyler, look, we have gone for a long time over here.
Too long.
But look, first time back, we got to get the kinks out. All right, we got to warm up. Got to get on the field. It was first day with pads. Okay, so obviously we're gonna
run a couple quick passes, get your quarterback in rhythm. Like,
of course, get the ball moving. Tyler, we'll be back next week. We'll be talking about what happened in week 1. We'll be previewing a bit of week 2, and hopefully we are in a much better mood regarding our beloved Florida Gators, which we both wore Gator gear for this recording. Let us both acknowledge here at the end of the episode. So, anything else you want to say before we sign off for this week?
I've said it pretty much every year we've done this, but it's the greatest time of the year, greatest sport in the world. Glad I get to talk about it with you. And it'll be difficult for us to record some weeks this season because your boy has a job that is really stretching his time thin.
Yeah, and your other boy over here is realizing that not everybody puts their life on hold in the fall, which is interesting, an interesting tactic. So I do have 3 straight weddings in October that I will be traveling for. So that we got
3 heterosexual weddings.
3. Yeah, they are. But
you said 3 straight weddings.
Oh, straight. Yes. Okay. It was like, how did we get here? Oh, yes, I did say 3 straight weddings. Yes.
Hey, you said it, not me.
I did say it. I did say it. But we were gonna have to do some logistics in terms of. But we are gonna get an episode out a week. So whether it's a combined episode like a normal one like we're doing here, or whether you get 45 minutes where each of us talk for about 20 to 25 minutes and we can kind of snip it together and upload it. There will be some form of content here. But listen, we do this because we love each other. We do this because this is something that we love to do. And for those of you that join along for the ride, we really appreciate it and tons of fun. So season 8, Tyler, season 8. It's anything else you want to say?
Said we couldn't do it, and unlike the haters for DJ Wiggins, they were not right for us. Haters said we couldn't do it.
Remember, if you are tied going down into the game, you run that football until you can kick that 44-yard field goal to beat Florida State, no matter what, okay? No matter what.
No matter what.
This has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And by God, Tyler, as a resident of South Florida this week, I'm going to say loud and proud, I am not biased, but go Gators.
Go freaking Gators, baby.
If this season's good and I'm right about Billy, you all owe me so many apologies.